Previously, we passed through the world's friendliest resort airport in Cebu to catch a Silk Air flight to check out its in-flight service and meals served on board before making a quick stop at the world's best airport, Singapore Changi, and meeting subscriber Leonard and eventually continuing on to our next flight to Bangkok, Thailand. This time, we're flying aboard Singapore Airlines. It's my first time to try out the Dreamliner, and after a few hours of layover in Singapore, it was time to board for the next leg of our trip. It's been a long while since I flew aboard Singapore Airlines, and it makes me excited as if I'm flying with them for the first time.
Have you ever kissed a 787? Hello, we're doing vlogs. Are you here in the 75? Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Singapore Airlines is consistently ranked among the world's best airlines, and stepping inside their Dreamliner's very neat cabin made me even curious to take a peek how their business class section looks like. With permission from a crew member, I made my way to check out the huge spacious seats equipped with high-definition touchscreens, and from the side alone, I told myself that this is something to plan out for, and to try out on one of my future flights with this airline. After a quick visit at the business class section, I made my way to my seat all the way at the back of the cabin, where travel buddy and blogger Owen Nolasco of OwenTravels is assigned. But still restless from all the excitement of being inside this 787 aircraft, I decided to roam around and explore the rear part of the cabin. Here I find a very spacious rear galley, and unlike the ones in the A350, where you'd find the fixed central podium table, this Dreamliner doesn't seem to have one, but it still makes a roomy workplace nonetheless. Meanwhile, moving back to the cabin, I had to check how a lavatory in this aircraft looks like. And with a gentle push at its door, it reveals a well-lit and clean toilet all ready for use on this 2.5-hour flight. Passengers continue to come in, and while they're filling up the cabin, I was told by a crew member that this is not gonna be a full flight, which gives me a chance to move to any unoccupied window seat in the cabin. There's just few of us passengers in this flight, and there are plenty of window seats, but I'm happy with my spot, so there's no need for that. I like sitting at the back as I'm free to move around, other than I get to talk to crew members like Zaki, who has stuff to share about working for Singapore Airlines. Almost every passenger seems to have boarded, and the atmosphere in this aircraft isn't that busy. Still restless, I thought of walking up near the overwing area to get a feel of the space inside this cabin, and to check if the view from the seats there are obstructed by the wing. After checking the area and taking a few snapshots, I had to go back and finally settle down and explore my seat. Now, one thing that I like about the seats in Singapore Airlines coach is that it offers a good amount of legroom. Meanwhile, with the time we have before pushback, crew members begin preparations for departure. And while doing so, Owen began filling up his immigration card while I tried to check my seat pocket. And before I could do that, crew member Zaki hands Owen and I a surprise, a drink that seems to be one of this airline's mocktails called Royal Sparkle, a non-alcoholic mix of apple juice, ginger ale, and soda. We weren't expecting this kind and welcoming gesture, especially as we were only traveling in economy, but we sure appreciate it a lot. Setting my drink aside, I worked my way into digging into the contents of my seat pocket. What I find is Singapore Airlines safety card for the 787 aircraft. This bifold safety card contains simple illustrations as well as easy-to-follow instructions. Unlike in other airlines where you'd see worn-out ones in seat pockets, you'd see these cards here to be in very good condition. Next, we have Chris World In-Flight Entertainment magazine, which contains a list of entertainment selections from music to TV shows to movies that are available on Singapore Airlines flights. Another is Silver Chris, Singapore Airlines award-winning in-flight magazine that features the latest trends in food, arts, shopping, as well as destination guides and tips, plus information about the airline and its fleet, along with its network of routes. Last, we find the catalog Chris Shop, featuring products from Singapore Airlines' flagship retailer. It offers stuff from cosmetics, travel accessories, fragrances and electronics, as well as airline exclusives like model planes seen on these pages. Part of preparations before we begin our flight is the serving of hot towels, given by crew members to passengers throughout the entire cabin. Now this is also something I need to clean my hands and face with without having to go to the lavatory. You rarely get this kind of service from other airlines these days, and this small detail really matters to passengers like me. Now after being refreshed, here comes another surprise from our crew member. Boy, I'm beginning to like this airline as they've been handing out giveaways other than drinks served earlier. The fact that crew members would hand you giveaways surely makes you feel pampered and special. My heartfelt gratitude to our crew's thoughtfulness for their simple ways to make us feel welcome on board. Soon, the safety video is shown in our IFEs and our aircraft eventually gets its pushback. As it does, crew members would walk around the aisle, inspecting each passenger as part of their safety check before we take off. It didn't take long and we were up in the air. Cabins simply calm as we ascended further, and soon as the seatbelt sign was off, the presence of crew members were again seen as they started their in-flight service and as they walk along the aisles. Not too long and the smell of food being heated emanates from the galley. And as I waited for meals to be served, it was time for me to test some buttons. The 19-inch tall windows on this 787 are 65% larger than standard airplane windows and don't have plastic shades that you can pull down. Instead, they have the smart glass technology where you can simply dim your window at a touch of a button. Soon, crew members begin serving passengers who require special meals, followed by service to regular passengers beginning from the back of the cabin. For breakfast, I opted to go for Singapore Airlines version of the nasi lemak, with orange juice and coffee to go along with it. As for the crew members, serving of meals was quick as there were only a few of us passengers in the cabin. Back to my breakfast, meal presentation was good and I couldn't wait to dig into this flavorful Asian dish. And while enjoying breakfast, I just had to hand in a note to our crew member for their impressive in-flight service.
Are you flight first, sir?
No, the person is seated in front.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
taking care of the cabin.
Yeah, you're the lead.
Yeah, can I help?
Yes, we have some. No, just to say thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much.
I like the service.
Oh, thank you so much.
After having a hearty meal, it was time to check out the in-flight entertainment system. Touchscreen was quick and very responsive. After skipping a short survey, I'm immediately taken to the home screen where I'm given a preview of what's in store, from games and music to TV shows and countless selection of movies. Passengers can also check where their plane's at through the IFE's map that can be customized in different views. The Chris World Entertainment System simply has tons of stuff to keep you entertained all throughout the flight. For passengers needing to juice up their gadgets, there are USB ports as well as power outlets in every seat for charging during the flight. Now while I'm exploring my seat further, another surprise came when I was approached by a senior crew member about the note I handed out to a flight attendant earlier.
It's a video. It's a video. Yeah.
Oh, it's
anyway,
a
I
video.
do vlogs for YouTube.
Right.
It just so happened that this is my first time again in a very, very long time. So the service is good, it's excellent, and I think they deserve to be commended just to keep their morale up, you know.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to the younger crew. I think sometimes a stroke on the back from the passengers means a lot to them. So I submit this to my office and hopefully they get.
Well, I'd like to congratulate you. I mean, you just keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You like anything?
It's okay. I'm not asking for anything.
No, I'm sure you're not. Actually, the more you ask, the more I will give. The more you don't ask, the more I want to offer you. Yeah. Yeah.
It's alright, it's
But
alright.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's so nice to have a passenger like you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I thought the crew members are well deserving to be commended, as I find them very attentive, courteous, and very professional. I really wanted to thank our crew members that way for making us feel like VIPs on this flight. A writer once said that their true charm isn't the uniform the Singapore Airlines crew wears, but by their exceptional level of service they offer. I hold that statement true based on my experience with them today. With the remaining time we have before reaching our destination, I take the chance again to walk around for a bit of exercise, and to savor the spacious cabin this Dreamliner has, and to take a peek of what's going on at the galley.
Just going around. Owen's asleep. He's tired, way tired.
With this being my first time to fly on a 787 Dreamliner, I just can't help observe the cabin and its environment, from its electrochromic glass windows, to its spacious ceiling, all the way to its state-of-the-art seats. I simply find this airline's cabin very neat and very impressive. We were finally drawing near to our destination, and crew members began walking along the aisles to prepare the cabin and its passengers for landing. With our aircraft already descending and finding its way to position for its final approach, all we can do now is enjoy the view of the scenery of the clouds and the landscape below. Soon we were on the ground and taxiing past a new terminal being built at Suvarnabhumi International Airport. It took us a while to get to the terminal, but it gave us a chance to spot some planes as we moved along. Finally, our plane arrives at the gate, and after making a complete stop, the sound of seatbelts being unfastened is heard, and passengers begin to stand up to collect their bags at the overhead bins. It'll take a while for us to disembark the aircraft, with business class passengers given priority, followed by passengers seated ahead of us. This gives me a chance to quickly inspect what's in the bag given to me earlier by crew member Zaki. Among the items I find are playing cards, with 2 of each kind given to us, along with other items such as shaving kits, eye shades, pens and writing pads, dental kits, and even earplugs. Honestly, I didn't expect this, and it's nice to have these stuff as a remembrance of today's flight. These are small items given away on long-haul flights, but for me, the thought of being handed with some giveaways do matter. The gesture alone is a sign of goodwill by crew members to make us passengers feel welcome and important. And before we go, I just had to thank the crew assigned in our section for making our trip a very enjoyable one.
I wrote them a note a while ago thinking that they have excellent service. But anyhow, ma'am,
Esther.
Esther, yeah. Thank you very much,
Thank
and
you
I hope
so
to see you again. This won't be my last. Thank you.
So what's the verdict? Well, we all know that Singapore Airlines is one of the best carriers in the world. And with that thought, the tendency is to expect a lot from the airline. I'm trying this carrier with a clean slate, not expecting anything, and simply observing how crew members reach out to passengers along with the facilities they offer. Now it looks like I got more than what I paid for. Other than experiencing a very pleasant flight with them, I'm taking with me not only fancy souvenir items, but also a lasting impression that Singapore Airlines really welcome and look after their passengers through excellent service and professionalism. As I disembark, one thing goes into my mind. I can't get enough of today's experience that I choose to fly this airline again in my future flights. Soon, Owen and I reach Bangkok City, where we immediately indulge on superb Thai cuisine. Later that evening, it's another round of gastronomic delight, this time shared with friends as we went from authentic Thai dishes all the way to flavorful dessert. The one thing we recommend and that you shouldn't miss in Thailand is to try out their mango sticky rice. To conclude the night, it was time to chill out in the City of Angels with wine and coolers as we take things slow while savoring the Thai nightlife. In the other nights that followed, we decided to enjoy our stay in Bangkok on rooftop bars that had magnificent views of the city and its famous landmarks. Traveling with Owen Nolasco, this is Mitch Young. Thank you very much for watching.